involved businesswoman Bridgette Motsepe-Radebe, who wants to set the record straight because it's been alleged that Radebe was involved in political manipulation and conspiring to overthrow the Botswana government. In a series of articles, she's been accused of having secret meetings and financially backing the opposition in the recent presidential campaign. Motsepe-Radebe is now addressing the media.
And a lot of the story, there's a lot of reputational damage that has been done, and incorrect reporting to the extent that you have character assassination. And in particular, I want to single out the Standard. I fail to understand how a newspaper can just on their own, religiously, and without stopping, just continue to write a lot of incorrect nonsense about individuals and about certain citizens of their country. And let me walk you through what I'm talking about. But before I go any further, I want to just share this with you, because when I ask myself, why is it that we are having so much misinformation reported? Something came to my mind when I read this on the 23rd of August. There's been a court case that has been going on, and this court case that is going on it's not this one. Oh, yeah, here it is. The court case that's going on in Botswana, it's a lady who is married to to an intelligence agent. And this intelligent agent, the woman is saying the following in the court case, in the divorce case. She's now spilling the beans. She says her husband and the Department of Intelligence in Botswana has been involved in certain things. The role of human and digital intelligence in a political campaign details how the spy unit could assist the BDP candidates to win in October using clandestine operations such as espionage, black propaganda, spy ring, black budget funds, and counterintelligence to infiltrate and fight the opposition. It even suggests the elimination of targets when necessary. The document starts off opposing the use of black propaganda, which is described as false information and material that purports to be from a source of their side of the campaign. But it is actually from the opposite side. It is typically used to vilify, embarrass, or misrepresent the enemy. The report explains and then goes on to suggest another technique called spying, which entails using people who are good communicators who can live in the enemy circles and know their friends. I am now going to show you step by step, by virtue of going to various articles, how they've been doing this, to me in particular. And then I have, after me, a gentleman here with us who came from Botswana, who's the lawyer of the victim, who is in jail, who is also suffering that, and he'll also tell his story. He's the lawyer. So let's go through it. This newspaper says, I've been involved in money. The South African businesswoman Bridgette Motsepe has been fingered out in ongoing case against this Grace Diaz agent. And this Grace Diaz agent, Wilhelmina Mupweng Maswabi, the lawyer is sitting here. He'll talk to you after this. And the name is called Butterfly. Motsepe is said by the state to have opened an account with Butterfly. The money which is alleged to be financing terrorism. Now, I'm not financing terrorism. Previously, when there was a party election for the election of the president, I was financing regime change, what they say. Now, from regime change is terrorism. The money is alleged to be financing terrorism is linked to Isaac Kgosi. Motsepe's name is listed in the state's replying affidavit on why Butterfly should not be granted bail. The case continues. The lawyer will continue talking about it later. And what I'm saying, and also to go further, the High Court of Botswana has dismissed the bail application, and the application is facing criminal charges for financing terrorism, possession of unexplained property, and false declaration for passport. The Director of Public Prosecution has revealed that the applicant has over 390 million in her personal account. He'll speak about it further, let me not go back. But they say the evidence gathered by the state has linked the applicant to the South African businesswoman Bridgette Motsepe. She is also alleged to be the former spy chief lover of Khosi. Am I the lover of Khosi, or is your client the lover of Khosi?
My client.
Your client, okay. And is he called, I won't call animals by name. Anyway, so I don't know the client of the gentleman. I've never met her in my life. It's the first time I meet the gentleman. And I also have not, in my life, ever had any dealings with her in terms of an account. I've never been involved in money laundering, and I've never been involved in the outflow of capital. And affidavits say that the stolen money from the Bank of Botswana was banked in an offshore bank account. It says that this intelligence agent and I transferred the money from the offshore account to Isaac Khosi's intelligence. Now, I don't know anything about it. Now, if you open an account with the bank, obviously the banks will say, yes, the person was here. And even if the bank wants to lie, you walk in the bank, there are cameras, they'll see. So I need, from this point onwards, and as we go along, you'll understand why I'm saying I need this. I need a lot of investigations to be done, not just by Judge Dennis Davis's commission, but also from experts that are going to interrogate and investigate what really is happening here in South Africa, in Botswana, and all over the world. Interpol must get involved, and everybody must get involved. The next one is the Sunday Standard. Here they say that I was having dealings with the UDC. Now here I'm saying is that I do not know the UDC leaders, and I've never had any dealings with any of them. But in this paper they say UDC in secret deal with Bridgette Motsepe and Kama. I don't know them, and I've never had any dealings with them. And further, then this one is about a party launch that was supposed to take place in Botswana, in Soroe, and I'm supposed to be a speaker, and they even have this. Now, funnily, there's never been a party launch like that ever planned by that organization. It never took place because it was never ever planned. Even if I wanted to go to Botswana, the visa restrictions would apply. It's because they put me on the visa restriction by allegedly saying I was trying to do regime change in Botswana. And if you go further, here's another one that says I was banned by the European Union. And that will happen when I applied to Ambassador Tembi, through our South African ambassador in London, Tembi Tambo, and our South African French ambassador in France for a visa. Now, I've never applied to any of them, but asked for them or Ambassador Ndruya for any assistance for a visa. If you can ask them, they'll tell you so. I've never tried to go to London or Europe in those months, and I've never applied for any visa. Now, why would anyone go out of their way to make such lies? And then ANC has summoned me, they say. Now, if you ask the Secretary General of the ANC, he'll tell you. He doesn't know what he's speaking about. I've never been summoned by the ANC. So I don't know where they get that. And here they say, I'm going to be X'd by BBC, by Black Business Council and BRICS Business Council. I'm still the chairperson of Black Business Council. Yesterday we had a national council's meeting, and I was making a presentation. There's never any Xing. And why would they X the person who's their chairperson for things she hasn't done? And the BRICS Business Council, I'm still a member of the BRICS Business Council. I will be going to Brazil next week, the end of the 7th, during November, for the summit, the BRICS summit. And the further one says, now, there's also evidence gathered by Belemina Maswabi. That's about the spies. We say that they came in there. I say I would welcome any official investigation by the relevant authorities in South Africa, Botswana, and elsewhere. And I'm also a businesswoman in good standing. I would like really for everybody who is an authority in the investigation to go even as far as the Bank of Botswana and search what it is that they say I've done. Come to this organization, come to South Africa and search, go offshore and search, and let the truth be told. And now, it doesn't end there. Even our South African Defence Force had to make a statement that they were not going to coup Botswana. But the reason why I brought the Defence Force in is because in the next slide that I'm going to show you, you see there's the brigadier's numbers here in the Defence Force, and you see what he was saying. They were also not going to coup Botswana. But they say, I'm talking about the Defence Force, that Bridgette Motsepe has paid money to Samson Bumamoyo, which is used to recruit young Vakarashi boys in Botswana, who are being trained at this concentration time in Botswana by former commandos loyal to Ian Khama, to be used as front team on a civil unrest. But it says further about the South African Defence Force. There will be some soldiers funded by Bridgette Motsepe from South Africa Army who have been close leading the civil unrest. So a few months ago, they were saying our Defence Force was going to coup, and the Brigadier General had to respond, and his telephone number is there, and you saw the response here that I spoke to you about. But as if they didn't have enough. Then they come back and they say, I'm going to fund some soldiers of our Defence Force dressed in civilian clothes to go and create unrest. Now I ask myself, what the hell is happening? Sometimes I look at this and I laugh. It's like I'm looking at a James 007 movie, you know. Are these things really true? And you will find out from the relevant authorities that that's nonsense. It's not true. And if you see further, it says that, black propaganda is described as false information. And the above article was written earlier this year by the South African Defence Force, and the Defence Force also implicates were lies and false. And then about my close relationship with President Khama, there are allegations that my husband is supposed to have having a court case against him or something like that. I'm shocked because there's nothing like that. The Khama family and my father, President Khama's father, Sir Seretse Khama, who was the first president in 1966 in Botswana, he and my dad, before he became a president, before he even married, were best friends at Fort Hare University. That's how far our life goes with the Khama family. And from Fort Hare University, being very close, the late Ntate Motlana, they were at Fort Hare. The friendship then continues even after I went to university. And when I went to university in Botswana, and Botswana is like a second home. I became very close to many people. You've read about Vincent Motoy. She was like a big sister to me, and it's like a second home. So the allegations that have been said about anything beyond the friendship and anything beyond what I'm saying is all incorrect. Now I ask myself, who is going to gain anything by trying to do this? And I want to remind you, South Africans, remember where we come from as South Africans? Every day of our lives, we had no freedom of the press. And we also had a lot of incorrect reporting against us, and incorrect reporting and false reporting, especially false reporting. If you've seen the documentary that was done on Mama Winnie, how a lot of money was spent by the previous regime and the underground operatives and those spy agents actually confessing on that documentary that they did that. A lot of money was spent, and this money was spent to character assassinate and false reporting and destroy her. Now I'll ask myself, what is the motive of countries' intelligence agents identifying individuals, citizens of our country, and in this case me, and maybe there might be others, and coming with lies that you can verify? You heard that I was supposed to have been imprisoned in Zimbabwe. and that I arrived in Zimbabwe with money, and that money was something like 22 million from my brother Patrice and 60 million from I don't know where. And President Khama came, and he was supposed to have taken the money, but the Zimbabwean authorities, they imprisoned me, they confiscated the car, the plane, and all that. Did anyone try to phone the Minister of Foreign Affairs in Zimbabwe? Or did anyone try to phone the Minister of Finance, Minister of Police to find out whether these things happen? Because if anyone tried to do that, they'll be told it never happened. And they'll be told that Ambassador Stuart McCormick, who was the ambassador on duty that day, representing the Minister of Foreign Affairs, came to the plane where I landed, where the people arrived, after having assisted President Khama with his landing, took me in the car, drove with me to the State Protocol Lounge, assisted me and my passports in the customs for entry clearance, and then we drove to the Vic Falls to have a lunch with Ambassador Andrew Young. And after that, we went back. And that's what happened. But when we came back, the Sunday Standard reported all the nonsense. And of course, many of you got it from the Sunday Standard. And I must say, in a very difficult way, you had to do reporting because we did not respond to you as and when those few or one or two or three people asked to respond, a response from us. So you've been very responsible and you've tried. It's not nice what you wrote about me, but you did it in a responsible manner, and it wasn't you who did it. And where is people's freedom? And what are my human rights supposed to be in any part of the world? And I'm now saying, I'm pleading for the Botswana government to do what the country has always been. The country is an ethical, very unique country. When I went to the United Nations General Assembly, I was in the General Assembly, the day President Obama did his last speech as the President of America in the UN General Assembly. He singled Botswana as one of those countries with ethical conduct, unique financing and everything in the General Assembly. And I was so proud. Sitting there, I had the opportunity to texting my friends in Botswana to say, Viva Botswana, you know, you've done well. You're flying the Botswana flag. But today, will we be able to say those things about our country? The country that is so unique. And I'm pleading that they go back to that the intelligence agents do their work, that the officials and the leaders of Botswana embrace what they've always been taught to do. Ethical leadership and morally correct leadership. And please let us all continue doing what we have been doing. You have been great at fighting against the injustice of this country. Continue to do that. And I'm asking you to also do your research. I can give you the numbers of the people to interview or whatever if you need to in terms of your research. I have now done my story, and I don't think, do you want the other gentleman to come?
Yes,
because the lawyer is still here. I
we
don't
just
know.
wanted to give the lawyer an opportunity.
Do you want us to ask questions, or do you want the lawyer
do you want to
come?
start with questions first?
Start with questions. Yeah.
Okay, so because of seniority and also deserves...
Bridgette Motsepe-Radebe there. Giving a media briefing to explain all of what's been happening with her name being dragged into allegations of trying to overthrow the government of Botswana and money laundering allegations against her. She's been rubbishing all those claims, saying she needs and she's calling for investigations to be done here in South Africa and in Botswana. And she even alluded to the fact that Interpol should be involved. So she spent quite some time, but now it's time for them to be taking questions, and then that is happening at the same. That's another developing story we are bringing to you. There were